Joe Ricci. Joe, did I pronounce your name correctly?
You did, sir.
Okay. Joe Ricci is Executive Director of the National Association of Security Companies, the nation's largest private security trade association. He is also the founder and owner of Ricci Communications, which implements and manages communications efforts for corporations. Mr. Ricci has worked with many international security companies, including ASIS International, ICX Technologies, and Securitas Security Services. Welcome, Mr. Ricci.
Chairman Andrews, Ranking Member Klein, and members of the committee. My name is Joseph Ricci, and I'm the Executive Director of the National Association of Security Companies, or NASCO. NASCO is the nation's only organization dedicated to representing private contract security companies, and NASCO members employ nearly 500,000 highly trained security guards serving throughout the government and commercial sectors. NASCO is committed to initiating and supporting efforts at the federal, state, and local levels to raise standards for the licensing of private contract security firms and the registration, screening, and training of security guards. In 2004, Congress passed the Private Security Officer Employment Authorization Act, which authorized contract security companies to obtain FBI criminal history records checks for screening private security guards in every state. While several states conducted these checks based on state statutes, most did not. Unfortunately, now 3 years after the passage of the law, the situation remains relatively unchanged. Given public policy and the compelling reasons for the existing law, we believe efforts to increase the facilitation of FBI records checks cannot be ignored. NASCO welcomes the congressional attention to this problem, and we are particularly grateful to Chairman Andrews for his continuing interest in improving the background screening of security. NASCO supports any attempts to improve the facilitation of FBI CHRI checks, including legislation, education, and dialogue. NASCO and its members look forward to working with Representative Andrews and other concerned legislators to improve access to the FBI checks, including amending the PSO-EAA to access checks through a third-party DOJ-authorized entity or channeler to process the FBI checks in states without established processes. Employers of private security guards could use these channelers to access and screen employees based on existing state screening standards or suitability determinations, in the absence of state standards, using federal standards established by the PSO-EAA. When the PSO-EAA was considered by the House of Representatives in 2004, it was reported that approximately half the states were not conducting FBI criminal records checks for private security. While only 40 states license private security firms and guards, only 31 of these states require or facilitate FBI records checks, and in 7 of these states, the FBI check is only done for armed guard applicants. More recent estimates have put the state numbers that offer FBI checks at 16 states. Regardless of the exact number of states conducting FBI checks on security guards, it is clear, despite the authority in a law directing states to facilitate these checks, the majority of the states do not conduct FBI federal criminal history checks. In trying to find a solution, it is important not to lose sight of the urgent national security and public safety concerns associated with conducting criminal history checks, and NASCO's hopeful solution can be fashioned as soon as possible. Today, nearly 2 million people are employed in the private security industry domestically, protecting businesses, public offices, schools, hospitals, business districts, residential communities, nursing homes, daycare centers, and shopping centers. And as Representative Andrews said earlier, they protect 85% of the critical infrastructure, including public utilities, pipelines, ports, reservoirs, bridges, tunnels, and many others. In addition to policy arguments, empirical evidence further highlights the importance of FBI checks, including results from several states, including California, that when they implemented their FBI checks in 2003, resulted in nearly a 15% of guard applicants being denied licenses based on criminal convictions for sex-related offenses, burglary, robbery, and battery outside of the state. Similar results in other states substantiate these figures. The use of channelers to facilitate criminal background checks is a well-developed concept and was recommended in a 2006 DOJ report on background checks that specifically addressed the issues of employers getting FBI checks from non-state parties. NASCO has specifically discussed the problems of obtaining FBI CHRI checks and the use of channelers with DOJ officials and believes this approach would improve the facilitation of these checks. NASCO has reviewed H.R. 2703 and looks forward to the opportunity to discuss the legislation in detail with the drafters and the committee staff. As noted, NASCO supports the primary element of H.R. 2703, which authorizes the use of non-state channeler or entity designated by DOJ to conduct FBI checks on security guard employers when a state is not performing these checks. I want to thank the committee for holding today's hearing and bringing to your attention the problem associated with the lack of FBI CHRI checks for private security guards pursuant to existing law. We believe these checks, combined with NASCO's continued efforts to raise standards at the federal, state, and local level for private security, are vital to our national homeland security and initial issue of public safety and protection. We look forward to working with you to find a solution to this problem. Thank you.